Hi everyone, it's me, Curtis. I hope you all are doing well. It is Friday, May 29th. Today I wanted to talk to you about your first homework assignment, which is due on by 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sunday, May 31st. And then I also want to introduce your last speech, speech 3. First off, I realized that I should have made a video about introducing homework 1 several days ago, and I just forgot, and I apologize for that. Hopefully you all have at least started on it, or at least have looked at the assignment sheet. But anyway, so for your first homework assignment, basically what you're going to be doing is you're going to be watching 4 speeches over the internet, 4 speeches of your choice. Um, YouTube is a great place to find speeches. You could go to different news websites, but typically YouTube is the easiest place to find a wide variety of speeches. But basically, what you're going to do is you're going to watch 4 speeches, and then for each speech, you're going to answer the 9 questions that are on the assignment sheet. So basically, you watch a speech. You may have to watch it more than once, I don't know. But you watch a speech, then you answer the questions on the assignment sheet, then you watch another speech, answer the questions, and so forth. It's probably easiest for you to just answer the questions in the order that I have them laid out. If you wanted to write out your answers like in a paragraph form, like an essay, that's fine. Typically, students find it's easier just to answer for each speech, answer each question in order. Please, for your answers, I don't expect you to write, a doctoral dissertation on each speech, but watch each speech and then answer the questions to the best of your ability. If, for example, let's say, I know one of the questions on the assignment is, did the speaker use any visual aids in their speech? If they didn't, just say the speaker did not use any visual aids. That's fine. So just answer to the best, truthfully, and to the best of your ability. You don't have to watch super long speeches. Most speeches, especially with YouTube, they might be 5-7 minutes long, whatever, that's fine. Typically, some people like to watch some of the famous historical speeches, like the Martin Luther King I Have a Dream speech, or President Kennedy or President Obama. Some people, there's a lot of really interesting and entertaining graduation speeches where different celebrities have given poignant and often humorous graduation speeches. Any type of speech you want is fine with me. And also, if you wanted to look at a scene from a movie where a character is giving a monologue, the example that I use for all my classes, if you've ever seen the movie Braveheart, for example, when they're getting ready to go into battle against the British, the main character, Mel Gibson, he's riding in front of his soldiers, he's on his horse, and he's got his war paint on, and he's got a sword in his hand, and he's talking to his troops, and he's basically getting them motivated for battle. You might not realize that, but that's basically a form. Even though it's a movie, it's public speaking. It's a motivational speech. And when you see the movie, if you break it down, that scene, for example, you'll see that he's using visual aids. He's got a horse, he's got a sword, he's got his war paint on. He's using appeals to emotion to stir up his troops. If you wanted to, that's just one example. But if you wanted to look at a scene from a movie where it's just one character speaking like that, that's doable too, if you want. So doing this assignment, the reason why I have you do this is that you're going to watch each speech, and then you're going to have to break it down and look at the speech very critically, in the same way that, let's say, an athlete or an athletic coach looks at game film. So you're going to watch the speech, and then you're going to go down this list of questions, and you're going to look, well, did they do this? Did they do that? And the reason why I'm having you do this is that hopefully, so when you start from now on, when you see people speaking in public or giving presentations, you'll be able to recognize some of the rhetorical strategies that they use to try and get their message across. and you might be able to find some flaws. For example, if you watch a speech and you see that the person is using too much appeals to emotion, or they're manipulating statistics. You see that a lot in politics on both sides of the fence. But the goal for this assignment is for you to watch these speeches and then look at the performance of these speeches very critically. Okay? So do this assignment to the best of your ability, and quite frankly, usually everybody gets the full 20 points. You really would have to go out of your way and not put forth an effort to not get the full 20 points. So do your best, okay? Okay, now moving on to your final speech, speech 3. And by the way, I know my goal for this weekend is I will start grading your speech 2s, and then I will email you with my comments and then your grade, okay? Okay, so again, for your final speech, speech 3, proposing a solution, the assignment sheet is in the files section of the Canvas page in the assignment sheets folder. And then there's also a speech 3 related handouts folder, okay? All right, so I'm going to just go through the assignment sheet here. So for your last speech, I'd like you to propose a solution to a problem or an issue that has been on your mind, either recently or something that you've been concerned about for a while. I'm giving you 3 different options on the types of problems that you can choose to discuss, okay? So option 1. As a student at Penn State, you may belong to several types of groups or organizations. At a minimum, you're a member of the Penn State community. Additionally, you may be a member of a sports team, a political group, an intramural club, etc. If you were to choose option 1, you would think of a problem that has been encountered by one of the groups to which you belong, and then offer a possible solution to that problem. By choosing this option, you would be focusing on a local, relatively small problem that is relevant in your life. Additionally, you may speak about an issue that is currently going on at your place of employment. For example, you might propose a solution to a problem regarding a fellow coworker, supervisor, company policy, etc. Okay? Some typical examples of this option, I've had students over the years talk about issues going on in their workplace, then proposing a solution to a problem. For example, I had a student, since I also teach at Pitt, I had a student at Pitt give a speech using this option where she was a member of the intramural volleyball club, not the varsity team, but the volleyball club. And the problem that she was having was that the team needed to raise money, I guess, for their uniforms and traveling and things like that. So she came up with what she thought was the best solution for them to raise money for their uniforms, etc. Another former student at Pitt, choosing this option, he spoke about a problem going on in his fraternity, where the problem was that even though his fraternity had anti-hazing policies, in their rules, they weren't being followed. So pledges were still being hazed, and so that was an issue, right? That's certainly a problem. And so then he came up with he thought would be the best solution to convince the senior leadership of the fraternity to start enforcing the anti-hazing rules, okay? So although this option leans itself towards being rather personal in nature, it is still possible to use sources to back up your main points in your proposed solution. For example, speaking about an issue that's going on inside your sports team has probably happened in other sports teams as well. Okay? And if you have any problems finding sources, let me know, okay? Okay, so moving on, option 2. Should you choose option 2, you would discuss an issue that is going on in your personal life. So any family or personal issues and your proposed solution to the problem. Possible speech topics: difficulty choosing a major, a relationship issue with your significant other, a family issue, or an ongoing conflict with your roommate. These are just examples, and you are obviously free to speak about whatever issue you choose. Now, one of the reasons why I'm giving you guys three options here to choose from is that I would never ask you to speak about something in which you are uncomfortable speaking about, okay? And some people are more or less comfortable speaking about personal issues than others. However, I've had some very good option two speeches over the years. The couple that really stand out in my mind is I had a student several years ago who chose option two, and the problem that she was discussing was her older brother's alcoholism. It turned out at the time that her older brother was an alcoholic, and he was in medical school. And so his life was getting to the point where looks like things were really going downhill. So obviously that's a huge problem. So what she did is she started out her speech in her introduction. She gave the American Medical Association's definition of alcoholism. She gave some statistics on how many millions of people in America have either are alcoholics or have a drinking problem, okay? Then she gave some background information about her brother, about his personal situation and how he's in medical school and he's drinking too much and everything's going downhill, right? Well, what her solution to the problem ended up being a multifaceted solution. First of all, she proposed that he take a leave of absence from medical school and go into an inpatient treatment facility for like 60 or 90 days or something like that. And then after that, she recommended that he go to outpatient treatment after inpatient, and then continue on afterwards with going to some sort of support group like Alcoholics Anonymous, or there's different other groups too, but that's the most famous one, I guess. But anyway, in this case, she presented this problem, and then the solutions ended up, instead of just being black and white, do this and the problem solved, it ended up, well, to solve the problem, or to get her brother's life on track, she recommended that he do these things in this particular order. Okay. Another less dramatic example, I had a student a few years ago whose fiance was in the military, and the fiance was stationed in North Carolina, and the student was here in Pennsylvania. So the issue was long distance relationship. And so obviously that's an issue, and then she came up with some possible solutions to keep the relationship going. She found a lot of tips online on how to keep lines of communication open and things like that. And then finally, it's quite often the students will have a conflict with the roommate, and that's an interpersonal conflict. That's something that a fair amount of students will talk about. But anyway, so option two is there for you if you would choose to speak about something more personal in nature, okay? Okay, and option three is the least personal of choices. You would propose a solution to an issue that is relevant on a larger societal scale. Possible topics may include, but of course aren't limited to, political, social, economic, and or ethical issues that you believe are in need of a solution. With the coronavirus going on right now, if you wanted to, you could maybe speak about something related to the coronavirus or any other societal issues. Mail-in voting is a big thing right now. But anyway, a larger societal issue, okay? So regardless of which option you choose, okay, the following guidelines must be followed, okay? So regardless of which option you choose, your speech needs to include the following, okay? You need to clearly define the issue, okay? Provide background information on your subject for your audience, okay? Make sure that your thesis statement clearly lays out your proposed solution. Pay attention to signal phrases, or in other words, transitional phrases, as you move from point to point, okay? and support your position with logical, authoritative, and depending on the issue, maybe emotional appeals, okay, evidence, okay. All of the above must be included in your speech, okay, this is a requirement. So required time, 5 to 7 minutes, all right. You can use as many note cards or regular 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper as you'd like, okay. You are to use a minimum of 4 outside sources in your speech. In other words, just like in speech 2, you'll need to verbally cite your sources within the body of your speech. Okay. Every student will submit a typed outline with the recorded submission. I do not have any specific guidelines for how you construct your outline, only that it is typed. Additionally, you must list your sources on your outline. I do not require a formal works cited page. However, I do require that you list your sources somewhere on the outline. Okay? This is a requirement for the assignment. Any speech recording submissions submitted without a typed outline will not be accepted. Okay? After you record your speeches, you can simply send them to me in one of the following ways. Paste a link to the video into the body of an email. Again, YouTube is so easy to do, and it's so easy for me to access. I recommend that. Or you can attach the recording to an email, and then of course attach the typed outline to the email. The easiest speech submissions for me to deal with are when a student sends me an email with a YouTube link and then the outline as either a PDF or Word document attached to the email. That's super easy for me to deal with. The second easiest is if the student has either sent me the recording as an attachment and then the outline as an attachment. If you send me the recording in one email and then an outline in another email, I mean, I can deal with that, but quite frankly, it's a pain, and I have to keep looking for everything. It's just easier if you send everything to me in one email, okay? Please refer to the syllabus regarding guidelines for the recording of speeches, etc. Okay. So the deadline for submission of your speech recording is Sunday, June 7th by midnight Eastern Standard Time. Okay, so if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to email me or call me, okay? Now also, if you'll take a look on the Canvas page at the Speech 3 related handouts folder, I have some documents in there that I think are pretty useful. In particular, there's a document called Proposing a Solution Video Links. There's, I believe, three or so speeches, links to speeches in that document that are really good examples of students proposing, they aren't my students, but students proposing a solution to a problem while using sources, okay? And then also there's another document called Additional Useful Video Links. There's just additional useful video links, you know, some more tips for practicing and things like that. And there's a final checklist for Speech 3. So in addition to so in addition to the assignment sheet in the handouts folder, I have a final checklist for Speech 3. So as you're putting your speech together, getting everything finalized, use the assignment sheet, of course, and then use that checklist to make sure that you've included everything that you need to, in your speech, okay? All right, well, I will try and get going on getting your Speech 2s graded and my comments back to you as soon as possible. I hope you all are doing well, and I will be in touch very soon. So have a nice weekend, everybody. Take care.